welcome back to the Sports Zone on Time Warner Cable and the Texas Channel, visiting with Clarence Nevels of Tag Team Sports. That's sports with a Z. We didn't talk about the Houston area, and I know you have a strong connection there.
Yeah, we have a guy now in Houston, Kerry Henderson. He's an awesome guy. He's run a program there in the Houston market for the last, I think, 7 years or so. And he's a guy that we're counting on heavily to now introduce the 5-Star Academy there, which is obviously going to pull in a tremendous amount of athletes so that we can obviously get an ear to the ground to what's going on in the Houston market. Because when we did the 5-Star Performance Camp there at the University of Houston, we were overwhelmed with unbelievable athletes. And now, you know, Houston is a hotbed for talent. Yeah. But we had no idea what kind of turnout that we would have. And Kerry stepped to the plate and said, hey, I want to be a part of the 5-Star family.
Yeah, Harris County has produced quite a few.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, quite a few
right.
to say the least. If you go to the Tag Team Sports website, you'll see performance charts, and I just pulled some this morning. Blaine Townsend of Wichita Falls Rider High School. You'll see his position, performance stats, his GPA, which is quite extensive. What about Blaine Townsend?
Blaine Townsend, his dad's Phil Townsend, and we've been in contact with each other probably over the last 4 years now. I've kept up with a lot of kids in that Rider school district, but Blaine was one of those athletes that we knew that worked very hard to get to where he is now. His dad was one of the first ones 4 years ago to tell me that he said he's not a Division I kid. He said, but he's going to give you a Division I effort. He said, so what does that make him? I said, to me, it makes him a college prospect. So he's one of those kids. And now Notre Dame is actually looking at the kid, and I think he's probably going to get an offer from the school.
All right, also on the chart, Terrence Toussaint of Euless Trinity, the #1 ranked team in the country. Maybe undersized in some people's mind, but he can play the game.
You know, and it's funny, I talked to his mother last week, you know, before their game, and she said, I don't know why that the media continuously recognizes his size before his ability. And I said, it won't last for long, because he continuously shows that he is one of the top prospects in the country. He shows that he can help lead a team to a state championship, obviously racking up an MVP in the last state game that they had, and now going back in and being ranked again in the tops in the nation. You know, and again, you can't go into a 5A football season without having an arsenal of weapons. Yeah. And Trinity High School has that, and obviously a coaching staff that obviously knows how to utilize that talent. And Terrence Toussaint is going to be a force to reckon with when he goes to the next level.
Well, you know, Colt McCoy wasn't a big blue chipper, but won more games ever at quarterback at the University of Texas. Right. Sam Bradford wasn't a big blue chipper, but Oklahoma got a little bit of success out of him as well.
That's right. And those diamonds in the rough like Terrence Toussaint, we took an opportunity. He went on a summer college camp tour with us this summer and actually went to Kansas State. The national recruiter there is Joe Gordon. Joe Gordon said, I don't care how big he is or how small he is. He said, if he can play the game, he said, we're looking. And I was very impressed with that, you know, comment from that group, because, you know, and I don't know if all programs think like that, but I think it's gonna, most colleges are gonna gravitate to finding football players versus finding size and height.
Clarence, what about other players around the state that really stand out this year?
Oh man, we have a kid. I'll give you an example. Kid at Duncanville High School, just here locally, Jeffrey Thomas, 6'3" wide receiver, junior. Man, just has blossomed into a heck of an athlete. They just actually played Weatherford, I believe, and this kid had some unbelievable catches. Had actually, I think, a catch of the week that had listed up on the website. But you know, you have Alito. It's hard not to mention this kid, Jonathan Gray, because I think if a kid puts up 50 touchdowns and almost 3,000 yards rushing in a season and then comes back again and they're undefeated this season, he's only a junior. Yeah. Still has a year left. So, you know, and then you have, man, there's so many of them that it's unreal. You have, defensive tackle for South Grand Prairie High School, Travis Golden. Travis Golden is a 6'2", 255-pound, I think, you know, Division I prospect that is racking up the charts right now. That was you never heard of the kid last season, but now you're getting these kids coming out of the woodworks that you got Blair Burns, Plano. Blair Burns is a cornerback that has a vertical of a 40-inch vertical. You know, the kid that's very athletic. I think he could do a backflip and keep running and cover a guy. That's how good I think the kid is. But there's this tremendous amount of athletes all around the state that look great.
I think Jonathan Gray might want to go to Texas. They can't score any points. I mean, they
Right.
could use him right now.
They could use him right now.
Yeah. What feedback do you hear from former players? What feedback do you get from, say, a player that may have been removed for the last 2 or 3 years that went through some of your process?
Oh, one of the things they talked about is the mentality that you leave with when you come out of our program. We teach the kids to compete, and one of the mainstays to our program is this: when our high school players leave for college, they come back and they help train our high school kids. Our high school kids help train our middle school kids. And that competition, because normally when you go out on the football field, you're not going to always play against all Division I talent. So if you get an opportunity to train against Division I and you go and you play in a normal game, it just elevates your game that much more. So I tell the kids all the time, when you go out and you compete, it's going to seem like child's play when you've competed against the best. You've had opportunity to sweat and bleed with some of these guys, and I think these kids actually feel that it helps them a lot.
That middle school level of play has really increased over the last couple of years.
That's right. That's right, and I think it's going to do a little something different too. Here coming up in 2011, we've talked to some schools about doing an invitational for the middle schools. This is going to be a big deal, I believe. We're going to start inviting middle school teams, the top middle school teams out of Mansfield and Arlington. Maybe those guys will get an opportunity to play each other, and that's never happened before. You know, especially when it comes to whoever the city champion were. So that's another thing that we're launching in 2011 that I'm excited about, because I think, and I know that middle school is a developmental program, and it's not designed to obviously for who's the best of the best and all over the place, but I think it just gives a kid something to work for when you know that you at least get an invitation to come out and compete against another champion.
Yeah. Do you see this as maybe a statewide thing?
I do, and right now we're really working hard on making it a statewide deal, and it all comes down to scheduling, because obviously by rule you can only play so many games, so it's allowing the school districts to get their schedules together so they can allot for a game of that magnitude. But I think, again, if I'm a middle school athlete, I would love to stick my chest out and support my school and my school district, and showing that our coaches are dedicated to teaching us the sport so that we can go out and show what we've been taught over the period of time.
Yeah, and it kind of prolongs the season as well. For them.
It does, and it's exciting. You and I as middle school athletes, we didn't get that opportunity.
No.
But I think, and I think that it's a long time coming. I think that these kids deserve an opportunity to play in an invitational, and I think with rules and strict, rules and guidelines, I mean, you don't want, okay, you won this and move on to the next, but it's exciting, very exciting.
Everything you need to know is covered by going to the website Tag Team Sports. That's sports with a Z.com. Clarence Nevels, anything in the final minute that we have that you'd like to cover?
I tell you, it's Tag Team Sports is continuously bringing new programs, fresh and new and exciting information out to the public. And again, we've always stayed the same. We've always stayed for and about the kids, and obviously educating parents and giving kids opportunities that they wouldn't have gotten otherwise. And and it's high time that obviously somebody focused on bringing something back to the community that people can actually use.
Clarence Nevels, my guest this week on the Sports Zone. That'll do it. Till next time, this is John Nelson saying so long, everyone.